sometimes you get asked to sort of look over things again for a second time. When you do that, does anything else stand out for you, Jay, other than?
Oh yeah, I stand by our comments after the game last night.
Jay, preseason, regular season, or postseason, when you see that a player is struggling, whether it's offensively or defensively, what's your approach as a coach in finding that balance to letting them work through the process and also kind of giving them a nudge when they need to?
Well, you know what? I think when you're a coach in the National Hockey League, you realize that you have 23 different people. So different people respond to different stimulus, different styles of coaching. So it's important that you understand your player, number one. And then number two, you want to make sure that you're not just sweeping things under the rug. There's ways to call attention to things. And then number three, you want to provide a path or a solution for that player, something that they can hang their hat on. So that would be kind of our philosophy.
You guys.
In knowing your players, I know you didn't think that you guys had your best game last night.
Yeah.
Do you have an explanation why?
Why we didn't have our best game? Well, I think that was our first regulation loss in almost 8 weeks. Saying that we didn't play our best game, but I thought we were one shot away. I thought when the game was 5-4, we had numerous chances to even it up. For me, it wasn't our best game, and yet the score was 5-4. So that's a good sign. We take that as a positive. There's things that we can improve in our game. Going forward, I'm not going to share them here in the media, but there are things that we know we can do better. We're aware of that, and we're going to work to correct it.
But Jay, are you concerned about giving up goals 40 and 66 seconds after you score power play goals?
Well, here's what I would say is that, I think it's important that when you score a big goal, whether that's the first goal of the game or you tie it up in the third period, you want to make sure that next shift is a good one, one that you spend in the other team's zone. And the big thing is you want to eliminate the freebies. And those are things that we talk about. I thought the one in the first period, that's completely within our control. That's an individual error where we turned a puck over that normally we don't make that play. We made that play. It's an individual error. Not ideal, but we don't live in an ideal world. I think in the third period there, I think there's better ways of handling that situation. They didn't score right after the power play. There was a shift in between. I thought we had a good shift after our goal. It was the next shift after. And I thought just there were things that we could do to handle that situation better. In the end, we lost coverage in front of our net. That's another individual error. So for me, those are things within our control. And that's what we talk about in trying to improve.
You've talked about really since January the quality of play that your players are consistently putting out, and you haven't had a lot of back-to-back performances that you might classify as not happy with. This group have a pretty good ability to self-correct, you've noticed?
Well, I think we're honest self-assessors. And I think any good team, that's an important quality. We don't run away from the things that we have to correct or improve. And, I think there are things that we can do better or that are within our control that we can handle better. In the end, we don't feel we played our best game in game number one. We were one shot away.
Jay, you've been asked about Ryan Nugent-Hopkins a lot this year because of the season he had, and you always kind of brought it back to the playoffs and him being an important part of that run last season. Yeah. What do you make of his playoffs so far?
Yeah, I think Ryan helped us win that first round against LA. We've moved him around the lineup. I think he's an important piece on our team.
Do you need more from that player?
Sorry, say that again?
Do you need more from that player?
Do we need more from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins? Yeah. I think Ryan is working and endeavoring to be an important piece of our lineup on a night-in, night-out basis. I don't fault his effort, his attention to detail or anything like that. It hasn't gone in for him in this playoffs through 7 games at the rate it has gone in for him during the regular season. But I think you would be remiss if you just measured his contribution solely in offensive production.
Jay, when you look at last night, your game was an example of how we keep seeing these high gargantuan scores. So for you as a coach, like what looks like a successful defensive game, knowing that scoring is up, knowing the regular season, but as we've seen in the playoffs this year too?
Well, I think for us, in the end, we're about the end result in the playoffs. So 8-7 is a win for us. Are there things that you can improve defensively? Yes. We're quite aware that we were the top team down the stretch, specifically since I think, the beginning of March or middle of March or whatever. You guys could look up that run. We're aware of that, but we're also aware that the second hottest team down the stretch was the team we're playing, and they have certain attributes, and one of those attributes is that they can score. So for us, where our focus goes to is on exactly what I was saying earlier over here, which is we want to eliminate the freebies. We want to take care of things that are within our control. We want to make the other team earn every square inch of ice. And last night we didn't feel we did a great job of it, but we also know and have that we have good hockey players, and we have belief in how we play when we're at our best. We know we have better, and we'll have that on Saturday.
Last year in the playoffs and then this year in the first round, your team has shown the ability to kind of get better as the series goes on, figure things out. What kind of confidence does that give this team at this moment, and where do you think that comes from?
Well, for me, I can't explain, the history of game ones. I can't explain that. That's not how we look at it. We look at each game as its own entity. So for me, we do have a history of getting better as series goes on. But if you want to win a series, whether we won game one or didn't win game one, there's opportunities to get better. And I think the team that adjusts and continues to improve is the one that's going to win the series. As I said, though we didn't think yesterday was our best game, we still found a way to score 4 goals on their goaltender. We still found a way to score 4 goals on their team. Those are positives. It's clear to me where the areas that have to be cleaned up are.
Any update on Yanmark?
On Yanmark, you know what? I actually haven't. I'll give that to you tomorrow. We had a meeting this morning, so I didn't get to go back to our trainers, but he's not skating today. I know that.
Do you have a timer when it comes to ice time, right? Especially for your big players, is there, when you're on the bench, is there a timer in your head of what you're giving those guys, and is there a temptation to go past maybe what you feel comfortable, especially when somebody like Leon's going last night?
You know what? I think he finished with 24 minutes last night. That's not out of that might be a little bit higher than his normal average. But you also have to remember that we lost a player and we had 10 forwards. So, Leon was feeling it last night. He played a heck of a hockey game. But is there a timer in my head? No, that comes down to experience and instincts. And I am aware of what the ice times are. Obviously with the technology on the benches, now you're aware of where people are at. But you let games play out the way they play out. And, I thought he played a heck of a game for us last night.
With Deharnay and Broberg, sort of got the option there. Obviously, he can move over and play the right side, which helps. Decent number of minutes last night. What have you sort of seen in that competition for ice time between those two? And I know there's been some mistakes along the way too, but learning.
Both young players that are learning what it takes in the National Hockey League playoffs. Obviously, there's a difference from round 1 to round 2. I think both of them were around the 8 or 9 minute mark last night, and they give us good options on the back end.